What's up? Welcome to the Squad Show. It's Sam Ekstrom of Locked On Sports Minnesota. Today, just how many yards will Justin Jefferson get this year?
I'm Reggie Wilson, and it's my birthday today, so let's have some fun.
Happy birthday, Reggie! I'm Julia Daniels. Reggie Wilson is my boss. I'm a sports reporter at Care 11, and we're giving a bold, our bold open commentary for this week. Justin Jefferson's coming back. Switch it over to Ron.
And I'm Ron Johnson, former Gophers and NFL wide receiver. And Reggie, you know how it goes. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. By the way, Justin Jefferson's hamstring is ready to go. Hopefully. A lot of gifts for everybody else on Monday Night Football.
Skol! It's the Vikings Squad, sponsored by Game Time. Everything Minnesota Vikings, every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the land of 10,000 lakes, the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. It's time to gear up. The Vikings Squad Show starts now.
Hello. Happy Wednesday. It's our Care 11 Viking Squad Show Spectacular. Reggie Wilson with us, Julia Daniels with us, of course, Ron Johnson, and I'm Sam Ekstrom. Justin Jefferson is back from his hamstring injury. He's practicing this week. What do we expect for him in 2025? Plus, who is safe on the 53-man roster and who has some work to do in the third preseason game? We get into all of that. And if you had to make one move for the Vikings, where would you make it? What position would you address? We get into all of that and plenty more on today's Squad Show, which is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season's around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now. Futures Day is just around the corner. You met the crew. You know the topics. Let's dive right in. Justin Jefferson, it was announced, is returning to practice. So he'll get a couple weeks to ramp up with J.J. McCarthy before the Bears game. Ron Johnson, are we expecting the same type of dominant Justin Jefferson season that we've had for the last 5 years with him, J.J. McCarthy, teaming up for the first time? What do you think?
As long as he stays healthy, yes. As long as J.J. McCarthy knows where his bread is buttered, yes. If there's any hangups, no. But I don't see why it wouldn't be at least 1,500 yards. When you look at TJ Hawkinson, you'll have Jordan Addison back by week 4. You look at some of the teams they're playing and the ability of the defense, not the team overall, but the defense, and specifically that corner position in some of those teams are playing. You look at the Falcons, you look at the Steelers, even though they have Jalen Ramsey now, I feel like that's going to get a little bit like, I got to figure out how to play with these guys. You got the Browns, who knows what they're going to be. So I feel like Justin Jefferson in some of these games, and again, the Bears, like we still really don't know. I don't know if it's the Bears offensive line or what makes them look so off sometimes, but Ben Johnson is an offensive-minded coach, and everybody knows this. In the first year of a new head coach, the position he is familiar with is the position that seems to do the best, and the other position kind of falls by the wayside a little bit because he doesn't pay attention to it as much, unless you think about Dan Campbell. He kind of really doesn't pick a side of the ball. We know he's an offensive-minded guy, but he does both. You look at Tony Dungy, he was a defensive back, but he played quarterback in college, so he kind of focused on both. There's not a lot of coaches out there like that. Some coaches come in and they're so dialed in on what they have to do for their position. The other positions fall off, so that's why I think the Bears' defense is going to kind of take a step back. So Monday night, I expect Justin Jefferson to have a big night. One, J.J. McCarthy hasn't had a lot of time with him, and it's like a new toy at Christmas. Or, as Reggie would do, on your birthday. But when you have kids, you don't have a birthday. So, sorry, Reggie.
Julia, your thoughts? Justin Jefferson, J.J. McCarthy, the J.J. to J.J. connection.
Yeah, I think Ron's spot on. At least 1,500 yards, I would say. Should he stay healthy the entire season? Gotta get those hammies strengthened up somehow. I don't know if RDLs or what they got to do to get him from injuring those hamstrings. But the way that I have seen J.J. McCarthy connect with Jordan Addison in Justin Jefferson's absence has given me a lot of confidence about the potential connection that JJ McCarthy and Justin Jefferson will have this season, because he finds Jordan Addison everywhere. And if we're being honest, Jordan Addison is an incredible receiver. Justin Jefferson is an even better receiver. So I think I'm excited to see him back out there. I'm excited to see how they look together, especially because I do think that JJ McCarthy has made a lot of progress in just being confident in this offense in Justin Jefferson's absence. And I'm excited to see what they look like this week and then headed into the regular season. Because, those first 3 games, he's going to have to rely on Justin Jefferson because Jordan Addison's not going to be there. So I'm interested. I will tell you, after the Patriots joint practice, I am feeling more confident, even though obviously Justin wasn't out there. I'm feeling more confident in JJ McCarthy and his own confidence in the weapons that he has on the offense. So excited to see him back out there and to see what they can put together.
Reg, are we going to land on who actually is JJ for a nickname? I feel like we need to establish that before the season starts because it's going to get real confusing real fast.
Yeah, they've already said it. Justin Jefferson has conceded JJ to JJ McCarthy. He said he's Jets.
Oh, good.
Call him Jets. JJ is the new JJ, who's also the old JJ because he's been JJ. But anyway, that's really confusing. But I think the JJ to Jets connection is going to be good. What's going to be tough, I think, those first 3 games with Addison being out, I think there'll be a little bit more of an effort to maybe double Justin Jefferson. So I'm eager to see what Kevin O'Connell does to scheme Jefferson open and kind of get him a way to get away from some of those double and maybe even triple teams, because he's going to be the top and the best option out there. What I do like is that McCarthy has found a connection with TJ Hawkinson, who looks to be healthier than he was last year. So I think Hawk is going to have a big year. So that should take some of the pressure off of having to find Justin Jefferson so much. And if Justin Jefferson is covered, JJ kind of having some other options out there to make things happen, along with that run game and trying to hit guys like Aaron Jones out of the backfield. We saw, that wheel route in practice where he hit Aaron Jones deep for that touchdown, and it was nice. And everybody's been talking about the screen game. That's gonna be a big, part of and it's been ugly at times, but I think they are really making a concerted effort to try to effectively execute the screen game. That being said, I don't know. I want to see it. I need to see it. It was the same way with Sam Darnold last year. It was just like, I don't know what I'm getting because I just haven't seen it. So, I think Justin Jefferson is always going to be good for at least 1,300 yards. So I'll give him that, maybe 8 touchdowns. And that's being modest. I would love to see him go beyond that. But as long as the hammies stay healthy and he's out there, he's giving JJ McCarthy a chance. And I think that's giving him a chance to put up some big numbers this year.
What's kind of a hot take is that on a per game level, Justin Jefferson actually had kind of a down year last year. Now, the overall volume was fantastic, 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns, but he only had 90 yards per game. Now, the year before had 107. The year before that, he had 106. And if you tallied up the average for Justin Jefferson in his career, 96.5 yards per game, that would be an NFL all-time record. So only getting 90 yards per game last year, actually a little bit down for JJ. And I suspect this is because the Vikings were so good. The Vikings were leading in so many games. They were running the ball in so many games. They had, fourth quarter advantages where they were killing the clock. So if they play a little more come back to earth a little bit this year, they play some tighter games. Maybe they have to come from behind. Justin Jefferson, I think, could actually exceed last year's totals. I also looked at 2023 when he played with Nick Mullins. This is Nick Mullins we're talking about. You know what he averaged in the 4 games with Nick Mullins at the end of 2023? 8 receptions, 119 yards per game.
He was going off. He was going off.
And this is double and triple teams too, right?
Those games against the Lions, good Lord.
Cooking. Absolutely cooking. So I have no hesitation about a drop-off with J.J. McCarthy being his quarterback at all. In fact, I think he could have better stats than he did with Sam Darnold, and I think that there's a really good opportunity for him to have 1,600 to 1,700 yards this year. When we come back, the Vikings could still need to make a move at wide receiver, maybe cornerback, maybe backup quarterback, but I'm only giving you one move to make. Where are you making your move? We debate that when we return on the Squad Show. Brought to you today by Game Time. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to the ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day. You realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress, save money on tickets, and you splurge on the food and drinks. Get a bigger group to come with you. Have a great time. Game Time makes it all possible. I used Game Time to get 6 people to the Vikings preseason game a couple weeks ago. Got in cheap. It was easy. It was convenient. They're also an official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB. They make it easy to browse the app for exciting MLB games. Hey, you can still go see the Twins on a beautiful summer night. Last night, I took a walk by Target Field. It looked awesome in there. If you're tired of scrolling to find the best deals, Zone Deals makes it extremely convenient where you find the best deals in a given section and you get panoramic views from your seat, all in pricing, all of that. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets, download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, Julia, I got a question for you. So you're Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. I'm giving you one preseason move. And yes, that expression is exactly what Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah looks like. That's exactly it. You can go sign or trade for a receiver because Jordan Addison's suspended and Jalen Naylor's got a bad hand. You could go get a cornerback because, Jeff Okudah is your starting cornerback right now. That might be a problem. And you also might have a problem at backup quarterback. So I'm giving you one move to address one of those 3 issues, Julia. Which one are you going to address?
Well, I'm not going backup quarterback because Max Brosper's there. They're good. They're totally fine at backup quarterback. I have to say I would probably go wide receiver, if I'm being honest. Just with how camp has gone and knowing that Jordan Addison's going to be out those first 3 games. Jalen Naylor jammed his hand last week. It just feels like an ominous cloud over this very talented wide receiver room. But other than that, it's not been like anybody behind those 3 has particularly stood out to me in a way that I'm like, oh yeah, you're ready for regular season NFL football. And so I think adding some depth there, especially just with Justin Jefferson, I know that they're being cautious about the hamstring, but I think that all of us expected him to be back sooner, which is like a little tinge of concern there when it comes to like they were like, oh, we're going to reevaluate him next week. Well, it's been almost 3 weeks at this point of him not being back out there. And so I just think if you're spreading your receiver room thin when you don't have Jordan Addison for those first 3 weeks. And so if they were going to make any moves, I think that's where I would probably address that problem first because the defense does the quarterback room isn't very deep, but the defense as a whole is really solid. And so yeah, I would probably go receiver first if I was going to rank concerns.
So Julia's calling the Panthers for Adam Thielen. Reggie, what direction are you going?
Come back.
So I think it's interesting that Stephon Gilmore is still out there because they could just, in essence, just call him back like, hey, bro, you want to run it back? You had a good time last year. But I think they are feeling good about the cornerback room, just need to continue to keep working at it. I'm with Julia. I'm going receiver as well, especially because Jalen Naylor is week to week with the hand injury. Not really sure where that stands. Maybe surgery could be on the table, maybe not. I think there's a lot to think about with that. The 3-week suspension for Jordan Addison. You know what I want to do, Sam?
What?
I want to sign OBJ. sign Odell Beckham Jr. Got the LSU connection with Justin Jefferson. Slapping cash in the national championship game. I think that whole dynamic could be fun.
Let the skull line play neck.
Exactly. Bring the guys together. Let them work. Justin Jefferson's, the man, but he's got the little hamstring thing. OBJ, Fathom Schefter, whatever you want to call it, fake Adam Schefter reports of retirement. He had to fend it off like, hey, I'm not done yet. I still got a lot to give this game. Let them prove that in Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell. Unite the two again like they were with the Rams a few years ago when they won a Super Bowl together, when OBJ looked as good as he looked since like his Giants days. And so I'm interested to see if there could be a match there. But I think bring him in, let Jalen Naylor work his way back, let some of the young guys like Ty Felton get up to speed and learn the NFL game, and just have another veteran in that room that guys can learn from, and someone who is productive and wants to be productive. The last few years haven't gone the way that he wanted to. So bring another receiver in, OBJ.
OBJ with the Rams, 305 yards in 8 games with KOC, scored 5 touchdowns, 50 yards a game. That's decent backup receiver production. And then Baltimore had a good kind of wide receiver 3 kind of year, 565 yards, 3 TDs. And then with Miami last year, did not go great.
Yeah, I think he was still hurt a little bit.
Yeah. He's 32 years of age. Ron, I don't know if you were going to say receiver, but would you like OBJ?
I'm not a fan of OBJ. I just don't think his personality fits with this Vikings type of like everybody's going to kind of be laid back, no media drama. Like we got enough issues to worry about with the quarterback situation. I'm going with a guy. So 2023, this guy had 1,250 yards, 72 catches. 2024, he had 44 catches, almost 600 yards and 4 touchdowns, but it was between 2 teams. That's the problem. When you switch teams midseason, it's tough to get going on the new team. Amari Cooper. So I have been saying, like, I thought he retired. He didn't retire. He's a free agent. The Amari Cooper thing was a parody account that did
was that. Fathom Schefter at it again?
It was fake.
Oh.
So it was a fake parody account that even had, like, some of the national media people quickly putting it out, because I looked and now it looks like a lot of people deleted it. A lot of people commenting and then deleting it, realizing it was the fake Adam Schefter. So Amari Cooper is still a free agent out there. His latest contract was $20 million. He was done after 2024. So he's just looking for a team. He is older, but if you look at this guy's career, he's never had a bad season unless injured. And so 48 catches, 83, 72, 79, 92 catches, 68, 78, 72. Quiet assassin out of Alabama, team first guy, would come in as a short term, because a trade is kind of long term sometimes. Like if you trade a guy, you're getting rid of pieces. This is a guy you could just pick up short term and not have any strings attached because he doesn't have a team right now. I like Amari Cooper. Like I was thinking trade for Terry McLaurin because he asked for it, but I'm like, picking up Terry McLaurin is making like a long-term decision because that's a guy looking for a better deal. And he doesn't want to be around. Like he already wanted to leave because of the receiver situation there. So I don't think he would want to come and be next to Justin Jefferson unless he's just like, wait a minute. Okay, I don't like Deebo Samuels in this situation, but I love Justin Jefferson. I just don't know if you have enough and willing to give up enough to get a Terry McLaurin for J.J. McCarthy to have for maybe 2 years. I like Amari Cooper as a stopgap. Like, I think he's a good veteran. I think he could play alongside Jets. I think it's a name. People be like, oh, okay, Amari Cooper. He can still run. I just watched him do his little running thing and workout thing. He looks like he's still good and ready to go. Good. Another veteran guy that still has a little top-end speed. So I'm not going for any – cornerback, I think it is what it is. I looked up the free agent cornerbacks. It's not a lot. Trade-wise, I don't know if there's a guy out there worth it. Backup QB, I think Julia's right. You got Max Brosmer as 3. I think Sam Howell, he threw for 4,000 yards for the Commanders. So 39.56 or something like that, or 39.68. So he almost threw for 4,000 yards. I think I'm not like he can, but he went 8 for 11 or 9 for 11 in that first game. I think they're fine with backup QB. JJ McCarthy is going to be good and ready to go. Give me a free agent wide receiver. I'm saving my trade pieces.
The speed at which great receivers, or any position for that matter, can flame out and suddenly be damaged goods, it's unbelievable. Like Amari Cooper 2 years ago, he's a 1,200-yard guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes one bad year, and suddenly he's waiting for a job. Same with OBJ. Not that bad 2 years ago. Has a bad year. Now he's looking for work. And this is my greatest fear with Justin Jefferson is that 5 years from now, he'll be in the same boat for whatever reason. You think you're on top of the world. You're on top of the world. You're never going to get old. You're never going to decline. And then suddenly you don't have a team to be on. You're 31, 32 years old. Another guy in the exact same boat, Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd is out there. He's only 30. Former 1,000-yard receiver with the Bengals. Was pretty effective 2 years ago with the Bengals. He went to Tennessee. Horrible team, horrible quarterback situation. He didn't do well. He's looking for a job. And the Vikings have the money to sign any of these guys. They've actually got a pretty healthy amount of cap space they're sitting on right now because of all the restructures. They backloaded a lot of deals. They've got the money. They can afford it. So I agree that wide receiver would be prudent to address. I think Tom Pelissero mentioned on Twitter this morning that the Vikings were looking at the market for wide receivers because I'm a little worried about Jalen Nailor. I know that Addison's out for 3 games. I'm worried about Jalen Nailor. I'm not sure that I'm comfortable with Ty Felton as my wide receiver 2 right now. I like his future, but you've lost Rondale Moore. You maybe have lost Jalen Nailor for a bit. And Jordan Addison's out 3 games. This is bordering on wide receiver crisis. And I don't think Justin Jefferson can do it all by himself. Then you're talking triple teams. You're talking bracket coverage. And it's going to be bad news. Speaking of which,
you're talking Sandra Bullock right now. Sandra Bullock would just tell you to run the dang ball. Just run the ball.
Enough with the trick plays, Bert. Run the dang ball.
Just run the ball.
That was good. The Alabama roots really shining through there with Julia.
Guys, everyone used to say that my mom reminded them of Sandra Bullock's character in The Blind Side because she wore skirts and heels every day and she drove the same BMW. And she's insane.
And didn't Sandra Bullock's character actually get proven to be like a terrible person, or that family was corrupt in some way?
But I'm not talking about the actual
I'm not talking about your mom.
Julia's mom is out here stealing kids off the street. Yeah, it hasn't been officially, but he did sue her. So
he sued that whole family, didn't he?
Yeah, Michael Orr did sue them because I guess part of the rights to the story, he wasn't paid fairly. Like he wasn't told what was really going to happen. And when he he signed off to be adopted, but what he did was sign off his rights, and he didn't know he gave them power of attorney. So he thought it was just adoption papers, but they had they were kind of banking on this 6'8", 300-some pound kid. They're like, oh, this kid might be.
They made it out like the lawyer lady in the movie was like this evil person when all she was actually doing was like looking out for him being.
Yeah, she was trying to help him. I bet you know what, and that's what's funny. I bet that story spun to be Ole Miss, slander. Yeah. Versus what it probably really was. She probably was like, wait a minute, what are they getting out of this? Why are they doing this for you? Why are you guys doing this? And he's like, they love me. And my mom went to Ole Miss, and my dad went to Ole Miss, and my sister is going to Ole Miss. Yeah. Okay, buddy.
So it's like a Britney Spears conservatorship situation.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah. And he didn't know. He was a kid from the hood and just didn't understand the paperwork and just assumed, if I sign this, I get to live with you guys. Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm a part of the family.
Took advantage of a vulnerable child.
We're going to play a game when we come back. It's called Safe or Work to Do. It's not the best named game of all time, but it's a game. We also talk about Daniel Jones a little later on the Squad Show. Oh, I hear Bo the Cat talking. He's talking about Yahoo Fantasy. Bo Daniels loves it. I love it. Everyone loves it. It's Yahoo Fantasy. It's the best way to play fantasy football with NFL kickoff around the corner. The drafts are in full swing. The group chats are blowing up. All the smack talk, all the controversial, value picks that you make in the third round that you think are going to turn into the player that saves your fantasy team and gets you all the money. Yeah, it's that time of year. And Yahoo Fantasy is unveiling 28 big new features over 28 days throughout August to celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness. particularly guillotine leagues. A killer new way to play Yahoo Fantasy. The lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week. There's one team left standing at the end. It's like Fantasy Football Survivor, one of my favorite all-time shows. With the season around the corner, now's the time to get the league together and give this new mode a try. Or, if you want to just do it the classic way, that's fine too. Stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. All right, it's the game that's sweeping the nation with popularity. It's called Safe or Work to Do. I'm going to give you some names. Tell me if they are safe. They're on the 53-man roster no matter what happens on Friday in Tennessee, or they have some work to do to secure their spot. Let's start with Reggie Wilson. Xavier Scott, the former Maine Black Bear running back.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have been saying like, oh, yeah, he's going to take Ty Chandler's spot, but I think there's still some work to do. I still think that this could come down to the wire between he and Ty. So I'm going to say there's some work to do. I'm excited to see what both he and Ty do in this preseason game. Kind of crazy to think about the fall off, if you will, of Ty Chandler. He went from a guy who was splitting starting minutes to a guy that is just relegated to backup duty, can't even really get any carries, get in the game. Like I don't know what really happened there. He seemed to always provide a little spark, a little juice, especially his first year really getting some playing time. And now all of a sudden you're talking about a guy on the fringe of the football team, and that 2022 draft class just continues to look. I just don't know. But I think Xavier Scott's given some juice that, a lot of people were looking for Ty to give, and he looks good. He looks like he could do some things to make the team. But I still think, don't count Ty out yet. I still think there's some work to do.
I like about Xavier Scott, there's no debate whether it's Xavier or Xavier. It's a Z. It's Xavier. There's not. We know exactly what it is. I know, Ron, you're a big Xavier Scott fan. Do you think he's safe?
No, I think he's got work to do. The one thing you have to do is your resume helps. And Ty Chandler, Reggie's right. Ty Chandler at one point was looking. I mean, he pushed Alexander Madison, kind of like to the back burner. Everybody's like, man, this guy looks faster, quicker. I got a chance to talk to Ty Chandler, which. I should have recorded it, but I know he's going through a lot. So I didn't even, we just more talk ball and some other stuff when I was in the building. And the one thing I reminded him, and I was like, dude, when that that Chiefs game, or not Chiefs, Bengals game, in Cincinnati, I was like, you were a difference maker. Like when you came in the game, everybody's like, man, this dude is way quicker and way more elusive and has way more burst than Alexander Madison. And Alexander Madison was good. We know that. But Ty Chandler just was a different pace. And, I don't know if, mentally, because of the Aaron Jones and then the Jordan Mason, that can wear on you too. People forget about how important mental health is in the workplace. And it is sports, but it's still a workplace. And that's a little troubling sometimes. You're like, dang, I didn't do enough, coach. You got to go trade for another running back. And so I know that probably is in the back of his mind. But special teams-wise, we know what he gives you in the kick return game. He's a good special teams guy on the punt, block, and all that stuff. So I think Xavier Scott has some work to do.
Julia.
Yeah, I would say Xavier Scott has some work to do, but I do think that Ty Chandler should feel very threatened at this moment in time. One thing that I think it was week 1 of training camp, Kevin O'Connell said the main thing that they need to see out of Ty is consistency, because whenever he was, that year that Alexander Madison was a starter, you would put Ty Chandler in and he would just be explosive. And all of us would look around and we were like, why is this guy not running back 1? We're so confused, but it's because he struggles with that. He struggles to consistently be explosive. We've seen what he can do. But I also think maybe that's something that Xavier Scott has proven. I mean, the preseason is the preseason. So it's kind of like it's a trial run, but do you really get to see what these guys have the potential for? No, but Xavier Scott has been very consistent in the preseason and at training camp. I will also say, I don't think Xavier's as fast as Ty Chandler is, just because he's twice his size. He's pretty big for the running back position. So I think they're two totally different players. But I agree with you guys in saying, like, he has the resume, he has the experience. The main thing that's missing is the consistency. And I think that also when it comes to training camp, like, we're not necessarily seeing everything when it comes to this offense and how they are really thinking of utilizing Ty Chandler and weighing that against Xavier Scott. So I do think he definitely has work to do to keep up with where Ty's at. But I think he's putting Ty in an uncomfortable position for sure.
Yeah, if I was Ty Chandler, I would be very uncomfortable. I'd be shaking in the cleats because the Chandler performances we've seen this preseason have not been outstanding by any means. I think he had 5 carries, 5 yards in the Texans game, 3 for 12 in the Patriots game. But that's a continuation of some very unproductive outings that we saw last year. He had an exquisite 49ers game. If you remember the 49ers game, he was running his absolute butt off against Jordan Mason, by the way, on the other side of the field. But there were 7 games last year where Ty Chandler had less than 2.5 yards per carry. And I know sometimes you have a clunker. Sometimes you're not blocked for. I get it. But on a consistent basis, he was unable to create any separation, unable to break any tackles, unable to find the holes he needed to gain positive yardage. And I think that we've seen a little more of that trend here in the preseason. I think Xavier Scott, with his ability he's shown in the passing game, his ability he's shown to be decisive in the run game, and to hold up on special teams as well, I think Xavier Scott is safe. He's safe. Umpire sign. He's safe. He's on the roster, I think, even going into the game. Next one, Julia's favorite, Dwight Nudie McGlothern. Safe or work to do? Julia.
Oh, me first?
Yes.
You guys know what I'm going to say. I think he's safe. I think he's had a incredible training camp. I don't remember how much he played on Saturday, but he's really, I think the Vikings obviously, number one, take into what you can do on the field, but he's also just like such a piece of this roster and this team too, just the way that he gets along with guys and the energy that he brings to practice every single day. And so I think he's vital to the defense. I mean, he is, the cornerback room too is just stretched so thin, like we talked about earlier. And the fact that he's shown the flashes that he's shown, I mean, Ron even said earlier, like, what other quarterbacks are you going to go get, at this point? Who's worth it? Is there anybody worth it? And I think that Nudie's young, yes, but I think he has so much potential. And I also think even more than that, he just has this motivation to, like, he's going to be here. He's going to do everything that he can to be here, whether you like it or not. And so I just think it's like the attitude mixed in with the work ethic and obviously talent sprinkled in there too. It's just a recipe for success. So I'm going to go, yes, I think Nudie's safe.
All right. Let's go, Reg.
I also think Nudie's safe, and it is because of the work that he's put in during camp, and also because, like, who else are the Vikings going to turn to? Like, let the young guy cook. You know what I mean? Like, unless, like we said, Stephon Gilmore is still out there, or whoever else you might want to get on the free agent market, or see, what happens when teams cut down to their 53. If you want to maybe pick up a guy who was on the fringe of another roster. But I mean, you've developed this guy for a year plus. He's shown some flashes. Put him out there. Let that man cook. I think he's safe.
Ron.
This is a tough one, but that's why I left the room to go get my trusty notes. So I think he's good, because you look at Mekhi Blackman, he's a question mark. Is he really ready to go? Do you feel comfortable with him as a backup behind Byron Murphy? You got Isaiah Rodgers and Jeff Okudah. You look at the other options in Ambry Thomas, Amaya Vaughn, Reddy Stewart, and then Keenan Garber. I kind of got to lean to like Nudie's kind of safe. Like and it's more so he's played his way. I'm not just putting it on the names behind him, but I'm also putting it in. He's played his way into there. He's been around it. I think like the one I'm worried. So I got Jay Ward, Mekhi Blackman, Nudie, and Zamaya Vaughn, and Tavier Thomas underlined. That's the question mark. So I think Nudie is probably good, because I know Brian Flores, he probably feels comfortable with going with 4 defensive linemen and not having to carry a 5th. defensive linemen, which could mean either like, I don't know, because Taki, I don't know. This is going to be a tough one for him. This is going to be a tough one, but I'm going to say Nudy's safe.
I think the numbers are in Nudy's favor. There's no one breathing down his neck. So it's either you keep Nudy McGlothern or you just keep 5 corners and you try to you keep Elijah Williams or something. Like you would steal a corner spot and give it to someone else. I don't think that they are that hard up for spots at other positions that they would have to do that. So I think he is safe. I think he is on the team. He might be ahead of Zamiah Vaughn. I think Zamiah Vaughn's also safe, but I think that those are your 6. And I don't think there's a whole lot of threat to him. I thought the tackling is maybe a little shoddy on Saturday, but I think he's done enough in camp, like Reggie said. I saved this one so Ron could go first. Max Brosmer, Ron, is he safe or does he have work to do on Friday?
Every quarterback has work to do. He's got work to do. He's got to go out and show, like the last 2 games, he's shown he could do it. He's going to get a longer amount of time again. Again, is it a flash in the pan? Is it being in Minnesota in the dome? And is it like, is everybody like, is he juiced up for the fans? Now he's on the road. Can he do it on the road? Can he do it in a different environment? Like now you're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to fly. You're going to get there. Not say he hasn't done it because he's a college guy, but can he go there and show he still, has it? And the Tennessee Titans, I don't think they're going to play a lot of their guys either. So if he can go out there and dice them up and look decisive, his biggest thing is look decisive, make the right passes. But the other thing is the stuff we're not seeing, which is he's watching a ton of film. He's breaking down teams. He's already moved on to week 1, 2, and 3, I think, of the NFL season. Like he's kind of watching a ton of film, he said. So I think it's the intangibles that he has work to do, but on the field, yeah, he's got to go out there and just show and Brett Rippon has to he has to screw up a little bit. Like I think Brett Rippon looks overmatched and Max Brosmer comes in and looks great like he did last week. I think it's kind of a simple choice.
Julia.
You guys already know. I think that I think Ron's right in saying like the quarterback room is, very much still up in the air, but I was talking to Judd the other day, and we were talking about how Max Brosmer, a lot of times you're talking about like special teams guys, and that's what the preseason conversation is constantly about. It's just like, oh, it's going to be on kick return and this, that, and the other. Who's looking good here? And so it's been such, just selfishly, it's been such a fun story to follow this preseason. It's like Max Brosmer really going out there and taking advantage of every opportunity that he's had. Do I think he's safe? No, I don't think when it comes to the NFL, unless you're in a position like JJ McCarthy, that you're safe with your roster spot. I think that they're still very much trying to figure out this quarterback room. And Ron's right about going on the road. Even Max said it after the game when we asked, I think I asked him about like, what did this tell you about yourself? And he's like, I had more confidence, but I think that this next week in Tennessee will actually be the true test of like where I'm at this point in training camp and just ahead of the season, because it is a totally different environment than just playing on your home turf. And so I'm interested to see how he handles this weekend. I'm interested to see how much time he gets on Saturday too, because I think that will be telling for us as well. But I don't think that he's safe yet, but I do think there's reason to have confidence in him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Reggie, I think Brosmer's in the lead. I think he has some work to do, though. He's still got to do the thing. He's still got to show up, and he's got to win this game. If he's battling against Rippon, I think he still has to win that battle. Where do you stand?
Ron's gonna love this. Did the Gophers hold him back? Did the Gophers hold Max Brosmer back? Because he looks like a totally different person. I'm just gonna go out here and say this. Not only is Max Brosmer safe, I got a Sharpie. We're going to write him in as QB2. I don't see it with Sam Howell. I don't think he looked good at all in that preseason game. I mean, that pass that he threw that ended up being picked up, like that was one of the worst that I've seen. And Max Brosmer comes in here and, we've talked a lot about JJ McCarthy and him just learning more with the NFL throws, layering passes and all that. There was one that Alec Lewis shared on X. You can probably go check that out right now. There was a pass where Brosmer dropped back, stood tall, confidently threw a ball that was over the defender and landed right in front of the other defender, hit the guy right in stride for a big gain. And it's like, that's an NFL throw. What more do you want to see from the guy? And he's been throwing dimes. Julia can attest to this. We were standing out there watching him. You know, Tim Jones has been one of his favorite targets in camp so far, but he's out there throwing dimes. And I think he is comfortable. And I just want to see him get a little bit more put on him to see and prove that he is a guy that the Vikings can trust. But, you know, you listen to what Kevin O'Connell was out here talking on the broadcast about a guy like he wasn't on the team with him, like he wasn't on the team getting coached by him. He was talking so glowingly of a guy. So I think Kevin O'Connell really likes what Brosmer puts on film. I think he likes what he sees from him on the field. And I think Brosmer maybe is not the best idea to have a rookie undrafted quarterback be your backup after you have pretty much a rookie quarterback who missed all of last season as your QB1 this year. There's some question marks there. Maybe you don't want to go with the guy who's still learning how to even be a pro. But I like it. Give it to Max. He's safe.
Ron talked about it on the Ron Johnson show yesterday. The financials, too, are just so appealing with Brosmer. You get him at basically $1 million a year for the next 3 years. And maybe even if he's not Reggie's QB2 this year, like Reggie thinks, maybe Howell's contract expires after this year. They've got their backup. He's on the roster. $1 million next year. $1 million the year after that. He's only going to get better. It's like Jacob says in the comments, he's the blank canvas. He's 24. He's got upside. Brett Rippon's 29. And he's yet to do anything meaningful in the league. I think he is, like I said, he's in the lead. He just has to show up and not fall flat on his face in this game. And I think he's got it locked up. Max Brosmer. Sky Yuma. Another quarterback story. Daniel Jones is the starter in Indy. Gives the Vikings a nice comp pick. Will the Vikings regret more letting go of Danny Dimes or Sammy Darnold? That's next. All right, Indy has.
Hear him?
I do. Yeah, we do. Is he in pain or is he happy?
No, there's light. The light's reflecting off of everything onto the ceiling, so he thinks it's an animal.
Bo's just like another member of the show. It's great.
He's got 2 brain cells.
So Anthony Richardson has been benched in Indy. Daniel Jones is going to be their starter. Vikings wanted him. And to be honest, after the conversation we just had, I'm a little jealous that the Vikings didn't get Daniel Jones because of their tenuous backup situation. But before I ask the main question, let me ask this. Is Anthony Richardson a future Viking? Like, is that inevitable at this point? Knowing what we know about Kevin O'Connell's proclivity for him and his ability. Ron, is Anthony Richardson going to be here someday?
I don't know. I don't know if he wants to just come here and be a backup. Like, Kevin O'Connell is good at getting the next quarterback that fits the system that he already has a quarterback for. So I don't think he would get a guy like Josh Dobbs was just something that had to happen. I don't think Anthony Richardson personally would be the guy, but if he can get him for cheap, meaning like he's cut like he did Daniel Jones, and he's like, look, like in Anthony Richardson is like, man, if Sam Darnold got $100 million and Daniel Jones became a starter after Kevin O'Connell, I think like the Midas touch is next for Anthony Richardson to say, if I get cut, I want to go there, but I don't know if that fits what Kevin O'Connell. Like, I don't know if he fits what Kevin O'Connell does. He truly needs an offense where he can be more mobile, and I think that's where the Colts failed him.
I think it would just bother Kevin O'Connell too much to have a quarterback that inaccurate. There's still like such a timing element to what Kevin O'Connell wants to do and work the intermediate part of the field. And I don't know if Anthony Richardson can do it. He was a 47.7% passer last year. It's not good. And he's now gotten beat out by Joe Flacco. and now Daniel Jones, a couple long-necked quarterbacks.
Before the Jaguars game, we broke down, like, coach film was on that game, so that was on that was like 3 of our breakdowns. It was the 2 quarterbacks at the time, because it was Anthony Richardson, and who was the other one? Was it Flacco was the coach? He was the quarterback, wasn't
Flacco started against the Vikings.
That's what I thought. Yeah, so it was Flacco versus Anthony Richardson. And so, it was a coach. Yeah, you're right. They did play the coach. It was the coach. We broke down both quarterbacks because we were like, we don't know which one we're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had like 3 of his plays and 3 of Richardson's plays. And the one thing I noticed is that Flacco's plays were a little less chaotic, meaning the play call. I feel like the play calls for Flacco were more basic routes. Anthony Richardson, I feel like they tried to put too much on his plate, because I broke it down and I'm like, if you look at this route combo, why isn't this tight end just sit down? He ran like this weird crossing route. Then there was another one. I'm like, why did this receiver just run a sit route? Like there's a vacate, and the zone is vacated. There was no change. Flacco comes in and all of a sudden tight ends up the seam, tight end on the out route, tight end on the curl. It's like Mo Alley Cox looked like a Pro Bowler with Joe Flacco, and then with Anthony Richardson, they didn't have him in there. They were trying to go deep with all these other young receivers, and he hit a couple, but I just feel like they were trying to take advantage of Anthony Richardson's strong arm and expecting him to be like this great down the field passer. They didn't give him a lot of like bread and butter quick stuff like they gave Flacco, and I think that's the misconception. Is I blame the coach, like, because I saw Robert Griffith tweeted today, which is a dumb tweet. He said that he feels like the Colts are trying to tank for Archie Manning. What? They would have left Anthony Richardson in there if they're going to tank for Archie Manning. And so the point is, though, like it's weird. Like the way they run the offense with Anthony Richardson versus the way they run it with other quarterbacks was not the same. And that's the one reason why I broke it down to say, like, Brian Flores, if he has Flacco, here's what he needs to do. And if he has Richardson, here's what he needs to do. I think he was set up to fail there, the way they were expecting his arm to just be able to get them out of trouble. Yeah.
Well, Reg, the Vikings have to be somewhat appreciative, because it looks like they're going to get 2 high draft picks out of Darnold and Daniel Jones. But which of the 2 do you think will make them have more regret over letting go?
Neither. You drafted J.J. McCarthy to be your quarterback of the future. He's healthy now. You're getting a chance to mold him. He's a young guy. And then, like we said, we got Max Brosmer in the wings, baby, waiting and ready to do what he needs to do when called upon. So, no, but I think this worked out for the best. I think if it was possible, maybe they try to get Darnold back, maybe they try to get Jones back. And I know they made an effort to, but they couldn't promise either of them anything, because they had a quarterback that they made a first-round investment on, traded up a spot for, that they owed it to themselves to figure out what to do. The whole mess in Indianapolis really just pains me, just because I'm a fan of Anthony Richardson, but you draft a guy who only played a year in college at 20 years old, and you put him in this system. And I think that Shane Steichen was trying to maybe turn him into like Jalen Hurts or something like that. And he just wasn't the guy to do that. You were kind of reckless with that. He was reckless out there on the field, so he got hurt a lot. And then, a lot of people talk about how Anthony Richardson has this crazy arm talent, and he does, but he can't make the free throws. He can't, make the short, check downs. And sometimes maybe he tries to make the big play as opposed to just taking the play that's there for him. And I get that. But I think what the problem is just structure. He needs structure. He needs to learn. And I think maybe this is a case that it was just a little too early for him. And maybe he needed a little bit more work than maybe they needed and wanted to. They're in year 3. They got jobs on the line. Their butts are on the line. They're like, okay, we need a quarterback who knows how to play within this structure. We don't have time to keep trying to develop this guy, even though they drafted him and made the investment to do just that. But I think Anthony Richardson's story is not done. I think he probably has something like a Geno Smith type of a career where he just continues to learn and learn and learn. And then when he gets his shot, he can make the most of it. I say watch out for a guy like Sean McVay getting his hands on him, because if he can teach him structure, if he can teach him, the concept of the feet and the eyes, getting together, kind of like what KLC did with Sam Darnold, I say watch out. He could be a guy that the Rams could pick up, and after they move on from Matt Stafford, he could be a guy that can turn it up for them in that McVay system. We saw what Baker Mayfield did just for a couple games and parlayed that into a contract with the Buccaneers. And so I think between O'Connell, McVay, they could fix him.
I think he feels like a future Cowboy to me, Julia. I think that Richardson, that strong arm, the Cowboys love their Trey Lances. They love their Joe Miltons. They're the kind of strong-armed backup quarterbacks that maybe have some other issues. But that's maybe another episode. What do you think about the Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold debate?
No, I think Reggie's spot on. You go in and you draft JJ McCarthy higher than you ever drafted a quarterback in franchise history. You have to go all in at some point with him. So why not now instead of wasting your money? Build the offense around him, spend your money in other ways. So no, I don't think that, and I honestly don't trust that Sam Darnold will look the same as he did when Kevin O'Connell was in his ear. I'm interested to see what he even looks like this season. And the whole Daniel Jones thing, I did want to tell you guys that one of my best friends is a huge Colts fan. And one thing too, I think that Anthony Richardson has been mishandled by every organization he's been a part of since high school. I think that he has so much talent, but I just don't think he's been in the right place for that talent. And so I think that that's the saddest part. But I think also at the same time, like he's 23? There's so much potential. There's so much opportunity for him to still be successful in the NFL if he gets into the right spot. But I wanted to read to you guys what one of my best friends, she works in Chicago now, but she's a huge Colts fan, like diehard. She said, the fact that Daniel Jones is being painted as the quote-unquote reliable option with quote-unquote completion percentage as the main factor is that blankety-blank insane. And now you've just essentially thrown away your fourth pick in the draft and hurt his trade value. She said it was supposed to be Anthony Richardson opening things up for the run game with Jonathan Taylor and vice versa. And instead they keep flip-flopping between QBs who operate in totally different systems. Anthony Richardson is not or Joe Flacco or Gardner Minshew. So stop game planning for him like that. And then she just apologized. She's like, I'm sorry. I had to get that off my chest.
That's
I'm so
good.
irritated. She had so much hope. I mean, when they drafted him, she was so excited. And then she sat, I can imagine being a Colts fan, and then she sat there and watched them just burn the place down around him. And I honestly feel for Anthony Richardson. I hope that someday he ends up a place where they are able to utilize his talent. I think Reggie's right. If somebody like Sean McVay got a hold of Anthony Richardson, it's literally only up from here, right? At this point for him. But I don't think the whole keeping Sam Darnold or Daniel Jones around. I don't have a ton of faith in Daniel Jones as a quarterback to begin with. So yeah, I
resist. The Colts just can't stay out of their own way when it comes to the 1 year veteran uninspiring backup or I mean the gap starter, the bridge starter. They tried Phillip Rivers and that went okay, and then Matt Ryan went terribly, and they've had Jacoby Brissett and they've had Gardner Minshew and they had Joe Flacco. They turned to Joe Flacco last year, and now they turn to Daniel Jones, and it's just it's a curiously run organization. And Ron, I'll give you the last word on this one. When I look at Darnold for the next 3 years in Seattle, McCarthy for the next 3 years in Minnesota, I mean, I have a hard time seeing Darnold winning more games than McCarthy. And you also have to take into account that McCarthy's making $83 less million in that span than Sam Darnold. He's making 17 over the next 3 years, and Darnold's making $100 million. There's almost no way, no path where McCarthy doesn't work out better than Darnold would have.
Yeah, so I was looking at my notes. Here's the thing that I look at for if you're going to miss them. You still have Justin Jefferson. You still have Jordan Addison. You still have T.J. Hockenson over the next couple of years. You still have Will Fries, Ryan Kelly, Donovan Jackson, Christian Darrisaw, Brian O'Neill. You still have Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. You still have, hopefully, Jalen Naylor. I don't hope you don't need a hand surgery. But when you look at the weapons on the offense and you get a rookie quarterback and you don't have to pay a veteran a lot of money, I think the answer is no, they're not going to miss either one of them because they're planning to do what the Chiefs did with Patrick Mahomes. Like, this is what the Ravens did with early Lamar Jackson. They tried to make a run at it and couldn't get it done. But this is what you do. You take a rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels. You try to take these rookie quarterbacks and you try to put a bunch of weapons around them. And you see if you can get lightning in a bottle and get a Super Bowl out of them in the next, 3 to 4 years. I think that's why the Minnesota Vikings are fine. Like, if they had spent $100 million on Sam Darnold, I think the entire state of Minnesota would have lost their minds, and the state fair might have canceled themselves. I just don't think people would have been happy with that decision. Same with Daniel Jones. I think we were thinking Daniel Jones could stay, but if we're like, what's the number? And they're like, oh, we got to give Daniel Jones $45 million for 3 years or something, or 2 years. No. Why? For what? So I think Daniel Jones, the truth is going to come out of him at some point. He didn't spend enough time with KOC. KOC is good, but I don't think he spent enough time with KOC. Also, I don't think he had a chance to stay in Minnesota for the same amount of money. When he realized the opportunity was better with the Colts, that's part of it. Because Kirk Cousins, the same thing. I've been talking to more and more people that were around that situation in the building, and they offered Kirk Cousins a decent amount of money, upwards of $70+ million. The difference was he didn't want to be a potential lose his job to JJ McCarthy, whereas he thought the Falcons wanted him as number one. And then he found out the hard way that this is a business. And if you rewind it, he probably would have picked Minnesota because JJ McCarthy still would have been drafted, and then he probably still would have gotten hurt, and Kirk Cousins probably still would have had a decent year under KOC and made it work. So, it is what it is. He's doing what he's doing in Atlanta, and we'll see him on Sunday Night Football.
Ron mentioned the State Fair, rapid fire to close. I'm guessing all of us will make an appearance at the State Fair in the next couple of weeks. Ron's there tomorrow. Yep. Ron, what's the first State Fair snack that you're going to consume?
Well, because I have to be there in the morning, and I will be on the show tomorrow, the squad show tomorrow, joining you guys on the party. What should I show up on the show with? I'm trying to get down. I'm gonna try to get down there at 10 so I can park and take my time because our show's at 11. Our show's at noon that we're doing down there, the PJ Flex show. So I know this one's at 11:15. So morning, I can't really go with cheese curds at 11 something in the morning. So the first thing I probably will do is go look for one of those breakfast donut things. I know they have those little donut holes with the purple. The Vikings thing, they have that little theme. I forgot what barn. I think it's the Blue Barn maybe or something has a little breakfast thing. So I'm gonna try to find a little breakfast sandwich. That's gonna be my first. But as the show goes on, because we got noon, then 1 o'clock, we should be wrapping up, getting cheese curds.
Love it, Julia.
I've got two things. I'm interested to see. There's a new food, the pimento cheese puffs. It's basically pimento cheese that's deep fried. And I love pimento cheese. And then also the Dairy Barn ice cream is some of the best ice cream I've ever had in my entire life. So I always look forward to that every single year.
Reg?
So my first State Fair, I made Sweet Martha's cookies. So that's always the thing. It's right by the Care 11 barn. So got to have at least one of those. I can't do too many. It just gets too much. But my new fair favorite that I have to get, and the line is always wrapped around the corner, Peachy's Donuts. Peachy's Donuts. Fantastic Amish baking company, and they just do it every time. But you have to get there at whatever time, I don't even know, because the line will literally be wrapped around the whole fair.
Peachy's Donuts.
Yeah.
Okay. I might, because I'll be there early before the Flex show, so I got to check that out. I'm looking for a donut, something breakfasty. I know they have the wraps at one of the places last year. I saw a bacon, egg, something deal. That's an all day, a morning thing, and then they switch over to a lunch menu. So I got to check that out. But Peachy's, the other one I'm gonna do, because Reggie, you reminded me, I do have to do the cookies. But see, because I need to bring them home, I'm not gonna forget. I'm gonna put my Ziploc bag in my backpack today, because every year for the last 4 years, I keep forgetting. I get there and I'm like, dang, I forgot the Ziploc bag. I'm not forgetting this year because I don't want the bucket, because the bucket goes bad.
Yeah.
The little cone, because they stack that thing to the top, and I'm gonna stuff it in my Ziploc bag and bring it home. A little microwave, whipped cream, and a little Bear Tracks ice cream on top of the Sweet Martha's.
Oh
Try
my
that.
gosh.
A
Salivating.
little caramel, a little chocolate, and the ice cream on top of the hot cookie you've already put in the microwave. Oh yeah, it's the best.
I like I can't remember the name of the building. It's like the indoor kind of food court area with a bunch of different vendors. They've got like the sweet and savory crepes there kind of by the entrance. One of my favorites.
Grapes.
Also the mini donuts. Really, really good.
And there's going to be new triple chocolate mini donuts this year.
Oh, I'm there. I'm absolutely there. That's going to be a lot of fun. State Fair tomorrow. One of the earliest dates you could possibly have for the State Fair. So Ron will be checking in on the squad show tomorrow from the fair. It'll roll on with Arif, Luke, and Luke tomorrow. And we thank the Carol 11 crew for joining today. Thanks for the commenters, the listeners, the viewers, and the subscribers here on the Locked On Vikings YouTube stream and Locked On Sports Minnesota audio on the Locked On Vikings page. We appreciate it, and we will talk to you next time.